Yiratzon Parashat Vayera, the limud shebel refuat kol hacholim, ובתוכם טניה בת הודה מרגלית, יוסף יאיר בן אביב וחווה, הרב סיוון בן סימה בתור חושך חולי ישראל, and לעילוי nishmat Reb Bruce Weinrib, that the limud should help the family and mamash to be לעילוי nishmat. One of the most intense conversations in all of Tanakh start up in the end of last parsha and continue into this parsha. Hashem makes a decision to send Moshe Rabbeinu to redeem the Jewish people. And Moshe, with sort of a naive mind, says to himself, if Hashem said it's going to happen, he walks into the fields, talks to the people, and not only does he not redeem them, but things get worse. And he just says very simple to Hashem, Lama ze shelachtani. Everything you told me was a joke. Forget about it all. I'm not interested in you, and I'm not interested in the shlichut. I don't want it at all. And Hashem's response in the beginning of our parsha needs to be understood. And the response starts in the parsha, and it says, Va'era el Avraham el Yitzchak ve'el Yaakov be'el Shaddai u'shmi Adonai lo nodati lahem. Very, very unclear sentence. Hashem says to Moshe, I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with the name of Shakai, and they never knew my name, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. So obviously, to understand this, we need to ask ourselves two questions. The first question is, what's the difference between these two names? They knew the name of Shakai, Shin, Dalet, Yud, and they didn't know the name of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. So obviously, to understand that, we need to understand the difference in the names. But the second thing is, how does this have anything to do with what Moshe was talking about? So what that he spoke to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov in this name and not in that name? How is that a response to Moshe's challenge to Hashem? Why did you even send me? So the Sfat Emet says such something genius. But before we get there, just the difference between the two names on a simple level. The name Shakai, explains Rashi in Sefer Breshit, is the idea of die. She'amar le'olamo die. The idea of limits. That things need to stop, that things can't be perfect. And any time something in the world is not perfect, that's God's decision. If you're not a genius or you're not a millionaire, it's not a mistake. That's the name of Shakai. She'amar le'olamo dai. There will be moments, places, and times that you must experience die. That you're not exactly getting what you thought. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is Hashem's essence. And that's where everything that you thought is exactly what happens. You thought you were going to marry Rachel, you married Rachel. You thought you were going to marry Leah, you married Leah. Whatever you expected is what happened. So those are two different experiences of the world that are both intended from Hashem. The experience of Shakai, where you experience this concept of die, that what you wanted and what you got are different, is not a mistake, but a godly decision. And there are other times where it will be Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, where what you wanted is what you got, and that's what Hashem wants you to experience. Says the Sfat Emet like this. What does it mean that the name for the Avot was Shakai and not Yud-Kei Vav-Kei? In the year 1877, says the Sfat Emet like this. Be'ur ha'inyan, what's really going on here? Ki bevadai, gam ha'avot, hayu yecholin lehasig shem havaya baruch. Says something very transformative and I think very, very deep. The Avot were on the highest level. Just practically, they were the ones who started the journey. They spoke to Hashem constantly. They were even on a higher level than Moshe Rabbeinu. And says this, Bevadai hayu yecholin, if they wanted to, they could have chosen to interact with Hashem on the level of Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. Meaning they were on such a unique level. They didn't really have struggles. They weren't in Egypt. They weren't, being inflicted. They weren't being raped. They weren't being murdered. They could have chosen to say, you know what? The idea of Hashem is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. That everything is perfect. But no. Omnam bechirat ha'avot. The Avot chose Kel Shakai. This changes the whole story. What is Hashem saying to Moshe? Hashem is saying to Moshe, I need you to realize that the Avot knew the difference and chose Shakai. You, Moshe, have now experienced Shakai. What you expected didn't happen. You wanted the shlichut to work and it didn't happen. So your interpretation of that is, I want Yud Kei Vav Kei. I want things to be perfect. I want things to be where they should be. I want the generation to be doing what they should be doing. I don't want to see mistakes. I don't want teenagers that are messing up. I'm not interested in that. I want people to be in the right place. I want them to be Yud Kei Vav Kei. I want them to be sitting. I want them to be with their families. I want them to be learning. I want them to know priorities. That's the world that I want. And now you experience Shakai. But what I want you to know is the Avot didn't see Shakai as a problem. They chose that. They knew that wherever you find Yud Kei Vav Kei, true, you'll find Hashem, but you will not find people. In the places of Shakai, that's where you'll find character. That's where you'll find people, and that's where you'll find greatness. I just had a sicha mamash 5 minutes ago with one of my students, and he's sitting here and he's saying to me about the challenges in high school and things aren't going well, and it's not easy, and the guys aren't into it, and Gemara isn't great, and he's not being challenged, and all these different things. And my answer was, that is where greatness will come from. Yeah, you could go on an experience where everything's perfect, and then you look up and you're amazed, and you're inspired, and you're in awe, but you are not being a redeemer, you're being redeemed. Hashem is teaching Moshe Rabbeinu the deepest lesson of redemption is that I don't want to redeem the Jews. I want them to redeem themselves. I want them to see Shakai not as a problem or a mistake, but an opportunity. My bracha as we enter into the Parsha of Va'era, as I started off in the memory of Reb Bruce Weinrib, we had the zchut a week before he passed away to be in his home. And, usually you come into someone's house, and in a living room, you have, 10, 15 people. And that's it's a very small place. But he brought in 100 people into his living room. And I think one of the things that I was speaking about with John, his son, that he's constantly receiving and thinking about his Abba, is that really he dealt with the details with excitement. With the details of all the aspects of what it means to build a family with excitement. And our bracha is in the memory to realize and understand that wherever we meet Shakai, we should be excited for the opportunity to find the greater character that we could be. Shabbat Shalom.